Greetings, everybody. This is Corey, your field service manager for Lucas-Nuelle out here in the U.S. This video is going to be sort of a start here video for, let's say you're a new instructor or you're an instructor that's taking over a program. You've been given a fantastic Lucas-Nuelle trainer that you have never seen before. You want to know how to set it up, how to incorporate it, or how to get started, or say maybe you've worked with us before, but maybe you're not super tech savvy and you need a little help on where to start. This is a video for you. So I kind of have a split screen set up here so that I can walk you through kind of where to look on the screen, and then we're going to walk through the steps. As we go through the steps in the LabSoft course, I'm going to walk you through the physical steps as well. So kind of just running through what I have set up. So obviously on the screen here, I'm in the one of our ADAS radar courses for adaptive cruise control. Obviously you will need to have this software installed as well as your courseware for your trainer. I do also want to mention that this really is applicable to any of our trainers. The UniTrain and the ADAS kind of have I would say, a more complicated setup from a physical standpoint. So I started with this as the example, but you really should be able to apply this to anything. One of the questions we get a lot is, do you have an instruction manual for how this all works? The short answer is not really. The true answer for that is that pretty much everything you need to know is built into the LabSoft course. And that's usually what we'll tell instructors if they've never worked with any of our stuff before. Going through the LabSoft course is usually enough to get you familiarized, but this is going to be a good place to start if you are completely new to it. So as you can see, I've got the UniTrain set up over here. I have the interface and the experimenter. If you are not familiar, these are just held together like so. I'm going to put this back together so you can see. I'm going to set it down on the desk here. My laptop obviously open to the LabSoft course, and then I have the case for the physical hardware for the ADAS radar course. So essentially when we tell you, hey, there's no real instruction manual, you'll have some packing lists and things that just tell you what to expect in the package, but they're not really instructions. The real instructions are found at the beginning of the LabSoft course. They have made it really self-explanatory so that you can work through the first probably 10 or 12 slides, and that will tell you what equipment you'll need for the course. It will tell you how to set that equipment up. It'll tell you how to hook the wiring up as far as getting it attached to your computer, and then it will proceed with the courseware, and you'll be able to run experiments and all that. So if I'm brand new and I'm looking at this, this is the home screen for the ADAS radar and ACC course. Your first slide is going to be training objectives. We won't really spend a lot of time on that. The important one is going to be the equipment. So this is going to tell you exactly what you need, even down to the part numbers. Anything that's here should be included in your case with your physical setup. So obviously you have your interface, your experimenter, you have your ACC card, which is this right here. You have your ACC sensor, which is this right here. You've got your USB-A cable. You have a USB hub. You have your measurement supplies, which actually I think I've taken out of this case, but normally there are red and black safety measurement leads also in here. And in this kit as well, you have your calibration target, which this is the mount for that. And then underneath here is your calibration target. So just so you kind of know what we're looking at. And then a Phillips head screwdriver, which if needed is usually included. So it will have everything that you need. So going on to the next slide. So as I said before, your ACC card. The physical card will match the photo on here, and it usually will give you dimensions, anything you need to know as far as operating voltage, and it'll give you just some information about what that module contains. Usually these connect to the PC via USB, This particular one has like some sort of, I don't know if it's a VGA cable, something like that. A little bit different on this, but all of that is included. We're going to go on to the next. So just first step with any of the UniTrain courses is going to be inserting the experimenter card into the interface. Basically, it just slides in from the top, push straight down, and it kind of clicks into place. You need to take it out. There's a button that will release it. So looking at this first slide, the sensor unit, it's going to show us, give us a little information about the sensor unit. Comes with a tabletop stand and a magnetic holder. It's telling you a little bit about the calibration process for this, which is hands-on for actual course knowledge. It does get into the calibration as well in the next section. It tells you a little bit about that calibration target and a couple of photos on how that looks when it's all assembled. And then the next slides are going to be putting the ACC with emergency brake into operation. So first of all, the setup of the module. Following stand can be found in your case, which contains equipment. So this one's pretty self-explanatory. The little magnetic block just screws right into the top. Sits like that on the desktop. And then the ACC module has magnets on the back, or I guess metal plates on the back that will magnetize to the stand. And then, like I said, this is I don't know what kind of cable that is, but it pretty much will just plug into the top of the UniTrain card. This one's got little thumb screws, just like an old monitor cable, old computer monitor cable. Most of the UniTrain courses connect just by the USB here, but this one has an additional connection. All right, so now that that is set up, we're going to go into experiment setup. Now, these animations are great. They're very self-explanatory. You're going to hit play, and it's going to walk you step by step. So attach the power supply connection to the UniTrain interface. We've already done that. Now we're connecting the USB from the UniTrain card to the USB hub. Now the hubs in the photos might look a little different. There are obviously many types of these, so they might not all look like the one in the photo, but they do the same thing. So we're going to plug our USB into the top of the card there, and then into the hub. We're going to go from the UniTrain interface side to the hub. Now that one requires this particular USB cable. That plugs right into the back here. And then also into the hub. And I did skip a step. I've already had this plugged into the wall. Since it's behind my desk here, I didn't want to move that. But there is a power cord that just plugs into a 120 outlet. And then the last step is to connect USB hub to the computer. So I'm going to plug it right into my USB-A port on the side. See the blue light on it means it's connected. All right. And it gives you some written instructions, but I love the animations. I think they're really easy for someone who maybe isn't as familiar with technology. So we'll go to the next slide. This is just going to give you some information on using the ACC instrument. Any of the drivers for these things will be installed automatically when you install your courseware, so there's no worries there. I'm going to move to the next slide. Now this gives you the first experiment. Now this setup here is going to be exactly the same as the setup that we just did. The cool thing about a lot of these courses is that they repeat the setup instructions on the experiment pages. So if you forgot, or say it was disconnected and you left your course and came back to it another day, those instructions are repeated usually pretty often throughout the course. So the next we will go to the calibration. So this actually has you set up the target a little bit differently for calibration. So to do this, you will need the following components, and it calls for that the interface as well as the connecting rods as well as the calibration target. So we're going to go ahead and put this together the way that they are telling us to. These are just little thumb screws, one into the back of the target. Same thing on the other side. And then I'm going to take the thumb screws out. We'll take our, don't mind if that just fell over. We're going to take our actual sensor module, and this is going to attach the same way on the front. And voila, you have your target or your module with the calibration target set up. And I won't spoil it for you, but the first experiment here has to do with calibrating the module using the Phillips head screws on the four sides of that module and the provided Phillips head screwdriver. It goes through that on this slide. Your first experiments here, practical to the actual setup of the equipment, but also informative in that they give you some real-world practical knowledge on the actual sensor calibration. So as I said, these steps are pretty much universal to any of the Lucas-Nuelle trainers, whether that be the car trains or any of the other UniTrain courses. And even some of the big panels, most of them are pretty straightforward in the way that they are set up. I hope this video was helpful. Like I said, this will be good to share with anybody that's going into this for the first time, or maybe they're just not familiar with our products, or they, are just not as great with the technology, which, is a lot of us. So, again, hopefully this is helpful. Our contact info is on the Lucas-Nuelle website. If you need us, feel free to reach out, and I hope you all enjoy.